So there. Welcome everybody to our newest podcast on the World of Ability podcast network. And so we are here with Suzanne Plumley, who we met sort of recently, but I'm gonna have right here. We're gonna have the Aspie Bridge. So this is what we're gonna talk about with Asperger's and autism. So I'm gonna hand it over to Suzanne to tell you more about what's gonna be happening here.
All right, Emily, thank you so much for introducing me. I am so excited to be starting this new adventure. And let me tell you, there is a very special metaphor about the bridge that you see behind me. And I will tell you about that as we get into the podcast. Today will be just me because I want to go through some of the reasons why I wanted to create this podcast. There are so many wonderful people out there that are talking all about autism. They're either authors or they're YouTubers or they're getting up on stages like Temple Grandin and Sarah Hendricks from the UK, talking all about what autism is. And that's great. I think they're doing a super job. But what I'm finding is that they're not necessarily helping people to cross this bridge to go back into society where they can be loved and accepted the way I have been. I have been so grateful to all the wonderful people out there in my world that have said and supported me and loved me. And I have walked over this bridge very confidently. I'm here today. If you had seen me just 5 years ago in 2018, I am not the woman I am today. And I am so grateful. There are so many wonderful people out there. And I have an organization to thank that I'd like to bring attention to. That's Brave Thinking Institute. Mary Morrissey and her faculty have done worlds of wonderful things for me to show me that I can be seen as an autistic woman. Now, when I entered the organization, I did not know I was autistic, and I'll tell you more about that very shortly. But for now, I want to say I'm very grateful to Mary Morrissey, Mark Maynard, who's been my side-by-side coach all along, helping me to realize that I am so much more than just an autistic woman. I am someone who can cross this bridge and go into society and share my gifts because I know I have gifts. Now, with my talking about the fact that there are so many wonderful people out there that are talking about autism, there is a big mission that I'd like to talk about. And I started this mission back in January 2023, where I said there has to be something that allows the autistic woman who normally feels autistic or victimized and even traumatized because society doesn't accept them. Society keeps rejecting them, telling them that they're not good enough. They don't fit in. They don't. And I'm here to say they do. Yes, you're autistic, and look at what we can do. And that is where my mission takes off today. Is the fact that I am the torchbearer to say to other women who are autistic and men, there are some late diagnosed men out there, and I'll tell you about what late diagnosis means in a moment. But let me just start off by saying I am your torchbearer. I am the Aspie torchbearer who will help you to cross this bridge with confidence so that you can also go back into society and feel loved and cherished and celebrated for what you have to offer. Wouldn't that be a great thing? I think you'd enjoy that. Instead of saying on this side of the bridge, you can come on over with me. I am your torchbearer. I will take you back into society. But I need a little bit of help. I need some help from some wonderful life coach friends of mine who, using their zone of excellence, their zone of expertise can connect, allow me to connect you, the autistic individual, man or woman. I work mostly with women because I am presenting and living as a woman. I know there are many others out there that are in all different levels of who they identify as. We're not going to go deep into that. This isn't about who they are. This is about knowing that you're autistic and entering this bridge with confidence. Now, let me tell you, as I said, I am the torchbearer. What the torchbearer means is that I have walked your journey. I have walked it with myself. I have gone through some of the struggles that some of you are now looking at. And let me tell you, you can walk the bridge too. I am coming to you from a wonderful producers, the world of Ability Now networking. I think I said that right. I'll get correction on that for next week to make sure. But I just want to let you know that there's some wonderful producers that are helping me put this show on, and I'm so grateful. Now, let me tell you, I never once considered myself disabled. Different abled, yes, not disabled. I knew that I had different ways of looking at the world that were even different than my brothers. And I accept that. It wasn't always easy, but I accept that now. And I have to tell you that my visual acuity, my visual memory is a gift that I've had for the longest time. I could see things in my mind and see things up in this little filing cabinet that a lot of autistic people know about, where I could pull memories out, but I could also put memories in of things to come. I never, as I say, I never once considered myself disabled. And I don't believe that autism by itself at level 1. Now, level 2 and level 3, I want to make a statement to say it's not that I don't care about level 2 and level 3. Autistic individuals deserve a lot of love and care. But levels 2 and levels 3 are those individuals that have received care up until this point. So they have the coaches that have been beside them almost from the day that they were born because they had other challenges. This page, this podcast is mostly for the late diagnosed autistic individual who found out after the schooling years. We're talking K through 12. And then we're also talking about college. We didn't know we were even autistic until we got to maybe our 30s, 40s, and 50s when the sensitivity organs became very strong, such as for me, volume. I always knew I didn't like loud sounds, but I didn't realize I was autistic. And I always knew that driving at night with all the lights around me was distracting. I didn't think that was autistic. I just thought that was who I was, and I thought others dealt with the same thing. It wasn't until they started getting stronger and stronger that I started having a challenge with them. A challenge, not a disability, which means that I'm aware of them and I find coping skills to get over it or to find other ways to work around it. Like I don't drive at night as much. Or if I'm in the car, I'm regularly adjusting the volume. So I found coping mechanisms that will help me to adjust my environment to meet my comfort needs. Now, the autism by itself does not require a person to go on to SSI, which is Social Security income. There isn't a reason that the late diagnosed or even the adult diagnosed individual needs to get Social Security income. I never believed in it for me because I felt that with the right support, with the right advocacy, with the right life coaches, and people who cared about me, they were going to be there to help me navigate the world in the areas where I didn't feel as strong. And that means that I should be able to go into society and not collect Social Security income. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't apply for SSDI, which means that it's a supplemental income if I found myself in between jobs, as I often did, where I could get a little of survival money to make it through until I did get another opportunity that would help me pay for my bills. So I want it known that if you're in the same boat that I'm in, and not everyone, particularly the autism 2 and 3, are capable of going back into society as easily, but they also have job coaches and such. But those of us who are like myself, who are level 1, we can go back into society. So there is not as much of a need for us to say, okay, we're diagnosed autistic, therefore we get Social Security. However, I want it to be known as a disclaimer, there are other challenges that we may run up against, such as physical issues. For me, it's my hearing. I've been finding as I get older and older that I'm having more and more trouble hearing. Well, we all know that when you go into society and you're not hearing correctly, the communication gets off. When it becomes so bad that we cannot hold a job, that may be the time that we might need Social Security income. So I want it to be known that being autistic is not necessarily a reason to collect Social Security income, SSI. But if we're having other challenges that are related to autism, just look and see if you can't find a way to navigate through. So that's all I want to say on that topic. Let's go on to the next one. The mission. Okay, here's the bridge. What does the bridge mean? The bridge is actually a way to educate and advocate for myself and other individuals who need to go into society with a little bit of extra education, such as learning how to manage bills, learning how to live, drive and get around with maps and things like that. It's a way of finding for me to help people connect with others who might have more knowledge, that are going to have our backs. They're not going to reject us. They're going to lovingly support us and educate us to bring us back into society. So I find that if for those of us who have gone through high school, gone through college, we've pretty much found our ways to get into the world and navigate our way through the world. But there are some challenges, like technology is another one where I would love to have a bridge builder. Now, what is a bridge builder? A bridge builder is a life coach, a certified life coach, who I am going to match up with the Aspie individual so that they can have someone who will help them with a part of their life that has a challenge associated with it, such as keeping an organized home, or meal planning, or how to dress up for an interview, or how to get an interview, because some of these things are a big challenge to all of us. I think if you sat back and realized it's not always set up to be in our best favor. For me, I have challenges with interviews, question answers. I'm expected to come up with an answer as fast as the neurotypical individual. We're going to talk about that next week, so I'm not going to go too far today. But starting in with the Asperger woman in the US and Canada, what my job is as your torchbearer, is I'm going to lead you up to the bridge where we're going to have another life coach who will meet up with you in their zone of expertise. And if you're a man or a female, we're working mostly with women, but they may also have a spouse or a brother or a cousin who's also autistic, so we're not going to leave them out. But for the most part, we're going to help team up a lady with a life coach who has a special zone of expertise. I have people who set up who are going to, as I say, be hearth and home, be meal planning, be financial, be grief counselors. I mean, we all have people we lose in our life, and sometimes it's a little harder for the autistic woman to know how to navigate grief, because she's already known as having emotions that might be a little bit off. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to just say that I'm a little bit of an oxymoron. A lot of people think that the autistic individual doesn't show emotions. And if you met one autistic person, you've only met one autistic person. We all have so many different traits that you can't generalize. And for me, I've always known I was super sensitive. I even cry at weddings because my emotions get so excited that I don't know how to handle them. So I am what I consider an autistic HSP, highly sensitive person. You'll find others who are autistic and ADHD. You'll find others who might have a little bit of bipolar, but they all go under the umbrella for the most part. Not in all cases, a disclaimer, we are all individuals who are here on earth making our way around. But because we think differently, we sometimes find that we need the extra assistance. So let me just get back to saying that there are going to be people that I'm going to connect you with. If you will reach out to me through my emails, through my websites, through LinkedIn, and just say, I either need some help or I would love to provide some help to the autistic individual that I see in my world, to give them a leg up, to support them, to help them to know that if they're having challenges in the community, I'm going to be right behind them. Like my friend Mark Maynard has been for me. Let me tell you, plug in for him. He's been wonderful. He's walked me across my bridge many times. But anyways, let me just get back to say I have 18 categories. 18 categories, and one even includes getting ready for the holidays that we just went through. How many of you out there get to a point of pulling the tote boxes in from Christmas and then being exhausted even before you begin? I even have a bridge builder who will help you with the holiday planning, the meals, the decorating, because that can be exhausting to us. We find that our levels of energy are not quite as high as we would love them to be. So I have 18 different categories of team leaders that I can connect you with. And what they'll do is they will, one, with me, will get to know where your needs are. Two, the bridge builder, the certified life coach in their zone of expertise, and you will work together, action taking on both parts. Don't expect the bridge builder is going to solve your problem while you sit back and do nothing. You have to be willing to do three things. Let me get to my paperwork here just so I can read off on that because I think this is very important. You must be willing to say enough is enough to victimization. You know, if you're going to stay a victim, you're not going to help yourself. You're not going to be able to get over the challenges that life has to offer. You have to say enough is enough. I'm not going to be victimized anymore. And that usually leads to the fact of going in and taking action and accepting support and constructive education. Now, if you're not willing to take action for your own life, once the bridge builder is gone, your life is going to return to what it was. That leads me into the third part, which is accepting constructive um, support and constructive education to reduce the number of times that you're making excuses, reduce the labeling, reduce the way that you're not accepting opportunities that might be right in front of you because, oh, what if it doesn't work out? I need my money from SSI. And no, we need to reframe you and walk you over this bridge so that you can take responsibility for your life. Yes, there will still be people out there. I'll still have bridge builders all around. And the more I can get, the better I'm going to be able to serve as many people as possible. So if you are willing person out there who's willing to be a bridge builder in your zone of expertise, what is a bridge builder? A bridge builder, as I said, is a certified life coach or industry leader who's willing to say, I know you're different. Well, they won't say you're different. They'll notice that you have special qualities and special gifts, but you just need a little bit of extra support to get into a life relationship, get into managing a home situation, or get into a work situation, and know that you can go in without being masked or without feeling like you need so many um, accommodations in order for you to work. Now, I've been with the company for 4 years and it's worked out very well for me. But I was willing to accept this constructive education. I was willing to take responsibility for the way that I was presenting. And I was willing to not let limiting beliefs, whenever people did get a little too micromanaging with me. Well, I'm not sure if that's quite a term, but the act of micromanaging would sometimes frustrate me. And I could sit back and say, no more, I quit. But I have to take responsibility and say, that is them. That's not me. I'm doing the best I can. And that is something that we need to work with each of you, is to realize not everybody in society is going to accept us. And that's okay. That's not our problem. If you're going into the world and going into society doing the best you can, that's all anyone can ask of you. We don't expect you to be perfect, and we don't expect you to try to fit into their world. You are unique, you are special, you have special gifts. And that brings me up to the term masking. Masking can have two connotations. Masking to fit into their world is exhausting. Masking to pretend to be someone you're not is exhausting. And masking to fit into the conforms or to conform to other people's way of life and standards is exhausting. I know that. And that's where your bridge builder can help. However, there's a different kind of masking that I often do. And that's called a mask where I can take coping skills and take ways of managing my own emotions, whether it be that I say, excuse me, I need to step off the floor, or excuse me, I need a breath, or excuse me, I need to just find a way to bring myself back to place. That is a form of masking where you're taking control of your emotions and you're excusing yourself for a period of time so you can regain your confidence. And that's okay. That's important. And if there's a manager out there that doesn't accept that, this may not be the best place for you. But go back to your bridge builder and say, can you help me? And I bet they will help you. So let me just go on to my next part. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my background. My background, I started out as being a woman who was born with hypothyroidism, which meant that my coordination and some of the other traits associated with metabolism were going to be off. So they weren't going to meet up with my brother's abilities. And at first, I was very upset with this. I always wanted to meet up with their capabilities. I wanted to stay at their level. And pretty soon it became very evident that I was different. And while I could have let that stop me, I never let it stop me. I always wanted to push myself. And I wanted to reach out and keep on going so that I could be the best version of me. Now, that is something that takes a lot of work, I know. That's something that if you work on yourself and say, I'm not a quitter. And there are bridge builders who can help you with that. But if you come to realize that you're not a quitter, it's just going to take you a little bit longer, or you might need a rest. But give yourself grace to know that you can do this. You don't have to stay on the victim side of the bridge. There are going to be many wonderful people who can help you walk over the bridge, re enter society, and have your back. And we just need to know who they are. I should get a little angel pin and put it on them so you know who they are. But until I can provide angel pins for the world, I think we'll take it as people come up to me. But I would love to see everyone in the world start to take care of each other again. I am a humanitarian. We all have gifts. We all have treasures. We all can give something to everybody. It doesn't matter that we're all autistic. We are all earthlings. We're all here in the same human form. We just look at life differently. We have different perspectives. But that doesn't mean that you should be less than anyone else. You have a right to cross the bridge and be happy and love your life. And this is where my Brave Thinking Institute program came in. Let me get back to my story there. So here I am. I was hypothyroidism. I was trying to keep up with my brothers. And while I was challenged in the classroom to stay up at their AP level, which I'm very proud of them for, and I was not quite the soccer players that they were, I did my own thing. And I had to come to realize that what I enjoyed is where my passion went. And where my passion went, I did very well at, because my persistence was there. And pretty soon I became very much known in my high school musical classroom as being very strong, because it was where my passion was. I could play clarinet. I learned to play clarinet in half the time of many students. And I actually ended up with the National Choral Award my senior year, because once again, I didn't give up. Now let's go on and say that I also was able to have children, because that's where my passion was. All of these things, when we put our passion into it, is possible. So you can do it too. Well, let me just see what else I need to say. Oh, okay. So at one point back in 2018, I found myself fired from my 5th teaching job. Yeah, I was depressed. I was upset. I was even angry, because it was due to people not understanding that I had a different way of looking at the world. And they just thought I was not being careful of the kids. So one false accusation and I'm out of there. Well, I could have stopped. I could have even gone as far as, sadly, some people go, which is committing suicide, because I'm thinking the world doesn't want me. Here I have graduated from college with an education degree, and I can't get an education job. But no, instead, I took that lesson, I turned it into another form, which is creating an enrichment center. I used my visual acuity to create an enrichment center so that I could solve that problem. We are problem solvers. We like to solve problems. And if you can get creative and use your visual acuity, I bet you can solve a lot of problems too. And I'm going to talk about that in another episode. But for now, I just want to leave it there that I would take the lessons given to me and I would turn it into solutions. Now, what I didn't realize is when I found out about my organization, Brave Thinking Institute, and I took my digital scrapbook of this enrichment center to them, I think they were a little surprised that I could come up with a solution that was part of my dream. And what a gift that was to finally be seen for what my gifts were. So I went all the way and I became a certified coach with them. Well, it wasn't until a year later that I found out that my behaviors, up until now, I didn't realize they were any different than other people's behaviors. My personal behaviors and way of showing up are what children are now being considered as getting diagnosed for autism. Wow, that was such a euphoric way to find out that I had a special way of being in this world. And I'm going to call it special. Not special ed, just a special way of being in this world, presenting myself in this world. And I think that we all have special ways of presenting in this world. But to have an explanation was euphoric for me. I now knew that it was okay to be different. It was okay to think differently. It was okay to act differently. But guess what? We all have a way of coming out in this world and having so many gifts that we can give other people. So let me tell you, here I am right now. I'm standing before you. I've walked your journey. I've had your disappointments, my own disappointments anyway. And I have learned how to bring people around me that truly support and care for me in such a way that I have walked across this bridge so many times, and I'm here to help you walk across them as well. So if there are any questions out there that you would love to ask me, I welcome you to come on screen now or send me a note, or Emily can possibly let me know if there are any questions out there that might come to people's minds. I'm hoping I've answered your questions and shown you that I'm not just a woman who knows about autism. I am a woman who has lived autism, and I'm very proud of that. And I hope you are too. So if everyone would like to come on screen and add their own 2 cents or ask questions, I would love to have you. If not, I can tell you that some of the different categories that will come up. As I say, I mentioned all about holiday decorating as one, grief counseling, men can get their own special help with learning how to dress up for a date to help bring their best self forward, to learn how to interview better. I have a lady who's into career help who will help you interview. I have another lady who will help you with meal planning so that you're not falling asleep in your plate because you're exhausted. I have so many options to help you navigate this world in such a way that you will no longer feel like you're a victim. And that's the biggest thing about this bridge, is walking from this side to the other side, is escaping the world of victimization, feeling as if people have control over you, that you're less than. And I want to say thank you for coming to my first podcast. And I really hope you'll join in, because I have so many more ways of helping you to go across this bridge and become wonderful members of society who are cherished because you are special. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this session, this first session of the Aspie Bridge.